Hi guys, Courtney Kidd here, Floyd County School of Innovation. I'm here to talk to you all about my grant, Amping Up Engagement with Breakout Rooms. Um, this was actually something that I came up with because we were looking for some new ways to incorporate hands-on activities with a lot of our students at our CTE facility. So looking at the inspiration behind this, it was more about getting students involved, getting them to link to material that they may not have necessarily been comfortable talking about in class, but this gave them that opportunity to collaborate with one another. It gave them that little bit of a challenge that they need. You can actually see two of my students there working on one portion of the breakout room that I had designed like a Tarsia puzzle. So having students use a manipulation of random and disorderly facts that somehow come together to build one concept or thought that could actually apply in this. I'll talk to you about how I spent the money, the plan of the action, and then things that we've noticed from seeing this grant in action. The grant was used to supply the students with materials that they needed for problem solving situations. We purchased a series of materials to build a class set of 9 escape rooms. Majority of our students stay 30 and under population wise during classes. So that gave us enough sometimes to work in partners, maybe a set of 3, but usually no more than that. Um, and here you can see the breakdown of the money and how we spent that. Everything from like the Braille alphabet boards, pig pen grids, which are just like the crossing hatches for letters, invisible pens, UV flashlights, all kinds of different padlocks that were custom to make words, letter, number combinations. So as they're solving puzzles, they actually had a tangible like treasure box or unique find that they could use. And then we actually purchased the lockout boxes where the prize or where the reward or where the answer for these escape rooms would be. Again, it's not something that was used to replace my teaching, but something to reinforce my teaching. A lot of times, you'll notice in these pictures, the students are not necessarily using note sheets. They're not using like a series of videos or anything like that, but rather you actually see the incorporation of the content, notes on the desk, videos that they were watching and making. Again, another picture from when we did Tarsia puzzles. It gets them engaged in a playful manner. So they actually can communicate with their peers about the content that we're covering. Again, it did allow me to purchase the materials. The cool thing about this, and this is something that I've already latched onto with my coworkers, this is something that because we purchased a unique set of items with the ARI grant, it makes it readily available for us to differentiate. It's something that I can share with my peers and my coworkers, and it's something that we can engage them in almost every content area with. It just takes a little work on our part to set the codes to make sure the answers fit and that all of their work comes into one final culminating project. Here you can see a couple different images, different puzzles that we've used in the Tarsia, a jigsaw puzzling technique over here. They were using kind of like a flip code letter to alphabet, using microscope images like from a micrograph to do some interpretation, visual cues, visual hints, just different things like that. As far as the assessment of learning goes, I do hope this is something that we can continue to use in the classes because I actually did see quite a bit of engagement. And even more so, I saw more student communication. Kids that were not necessarily going to open up and volunteer in class when like I was lecturing or I was covering content. You could actually go around the room and hear them talking to their classmates because it's that little bit of competition that gives them that ambition to want to rise to the top. So it does definitely boost, it's a confidence booster. It makes them more comfortable with the content and it just makes them a little bit more explorative in nature. So they actually are making those connections to what they need to. Big takeaways from this for the kids. Okay, well, I mean, yes, I'm satisfied. I get to hear them talk about the content. I get to see if like a formative assessment in a fun way. But big takeaways for this, these can be fun. So it's not that you're taking anything away from the expectations of your students. It's just a different way. Have them compete with each other, have that little bit of challenge. But even more so, that last statement, learning can be challenging. When I first said we were going to do this, a lot of my students were just kind of like, oh, it's going to be a fun day. And it was. But I don't think that sometimes they associate fun with challenge. And I think that it's okay for them to realize it's all right if I struggle a little bit with content, because usually that struggle is what helps them with that learning and with that assessment. So, takeaways from this, I mean, it can be fun, but it can push them. They can learn things that they didn't necessarily expect to learn. Um, as far as sustainability goes for this particular grant, I will say this is something, all of the items in this were completely recyclable. The locks, all of the pig pin boards and the grids, everything held up really good through about 4 of these this year. One thing that I would like to add, I would like to make these maybe a little bit more mysterious, throw in a clinical aspect for the biology classes, make it more of a modern design thing for the engineering. But all in all, 100% on board with this. We've used several different techniques, several different types of escape rooms. If any of you are interested in finding out some of the things that we've used, or what useful websites, or where any of the materials for this project came with, you can reach out to me at the School of Innovation. But thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed that grant. Thanks.